We're recording. Okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone. It's 7:30. I sent out the minutes. Does someone want to take minutes? Otherwise, I guess I'll do it again. If you want me to, I'll get a pencil. Hold on.
Next time, Randy, I might have to jump off early, so I don't want to do time.
Okay, so let's call the meeting to order at 7:30.
Tina, you came in really choppy.
Yeah, Tina, I heard every other word.
Whenever I have my video on, can you hear me now?
A little bit.
Okay.
Better, but still a little choppy.
All right.
Did everyone have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
I did, yes.
Any changes?
They look good to me.
Randy, I actually had two changes. First, well, minor, if someone could just, I don't care mostly when people like forget an E or an I or an R in my name, but I'm Carrie, not Kerry. So if someone could just
It was
change the
me.
spelling of my name to K, K-A, not K-E. And then I just think we need to make a distinction in the third paragraph. Carrie told us the committee believes if we could just change that to dog park committee so that we differentiate between the Parks and Rec committee and the dog park committee.
Great.
And then the paragraph under that, when we say there was a motion approved for funds for a dog park study, I just think we need to specify that the funds were outlined in the agreement for engineering services from Keller Sessions Consulting. I just think we need to make that distinction so that we know what we're actually talking about when we're talking about funds for what. And that was all I had.
I'm happy to make those changes. They were from my notes.
The
Thank
only
you.
other thing I would say is that it's the Parks Committee can't approve funds. It's the Board of Trustees.
Nora, I can barely hear you.
Oh, what Nora said was that the rec department can't approve funds, which she's right. So Nora, I'll change the language, approved,
Okay,
what would you, approve the concept,
Yeah.
it approved the Board of Trustees authorizing it, okay?
I think that's better.
Okay, all right, I'll make that change, Nora. Thank you.
And
Thanks, Randy.
Randy, I didn't get a copy of the minutes, so I don't know if I'm supposed to have that, but
So,
Right now.
Brittany,
Thank you.
check your spam folder because Randy's email for some reason went into my spam folder, but if you're, so I don't know why, but it's also on, if you go on the website for the village, the minutes are underneath like the what Charles had sent.
They're part
So
of the
they're on
agenda.
there.
Second and third pages of the agenda.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to kind of just
yeah, I
scroll through.
definitely don't have it in my spam, but okay.
I just forwarded it to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brittany, did you get all the correspondence regarding this meeting and everything normally?
So, I mean, I guess I've only been in attendance for one meeting, which I think was in February. So, and then I got the notification that March was canceled. So, yeah, so I didn't get anything until today with the Zoom invite.
We all got the Zoom invite today.
Okay.
All right, I just want to make sure you're on the group. Okay, cool. All right, so may I have a motion to approve the minutes as modified?
Motion to approve the minutes as modified.
Can I have a second? Carrie? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so now let's hear from our Girl Scouts.
So I just want to say hi to everybody, and then I'm going to sign off and let Vanessa take over as leader. And girls, have a great meeting, okay? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Kathleen.
Good to see you.
Same here.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Vanessa Treza. I'm Kathleen's sister-in-law, and I'm the Girl Scout leader for Troop 2895 out of Port Chester, Rye Brook. And so we're here to share with you our Silver Award project that Evie, Paige, and Emily have been working on. They've partnered with Nora, who is their mentor, and Kyle, who is their partner at the Marine Education Center. And they're here tonight to share their presentation, share their work with you. So thank you for giving us your time, and they're very excited to present to a real audience here. Emily has a slideshow she'd like to share. Is it possible for her to share her screen? Thank you. And as soon as that pops up, the girls will take it away and share their work. So can you share your screen yet?
Okay, hi, I'm Emily, and this is our presentation talking about our Silver Award project, which is about educating and helping people not feed ducks and other animals in the water bread, which I know a lot of people do. This presentation includes us talking about what we have done, what we're going to do, and what we need your help to do. And now let's introduce us. So I'm Emily. I'm in 7th grade. I go to the Urson School in New Rochelle. Yvonne.
I'm Yvonne. I go to Port Chester Middle School and I'm also in 7th grade.
I'm Paige and I go to Hommocks Middle School and I'm also in 7th grade. Okay, we are doing this to educate people the harms of feeding ducks bread. One way it harms them is that it causes them to get wing deformity and then they can't fly. They also get fungal infections in their eyes, nose, and stomach called aspergillosis. And they also rely on humans to feed them. And in the winter, when no one comes to feed them, they will starve.
So what we have done so far is that we have taught Daisy Troop about this topic virtually. We taught a Brownie Troop about this topic virtually. We taught a lot of other Girl Scouts in person of like all different ages. We researched and observed the birds in their habitat at the Mamaroneck Harbor. We interviewed a professional, the director of the Marine Education Center, Kyle. Yvonne has made a game that teaches kids what foods are good for birds and which are bad. Paige has taught how to draw and identify the parts of the ducks and taught them what parts are affected by bread. And I have made a documentary and a cartoon about ducks and how different foods affect them. And that's a little clip of the cartoon in the corner.
Good or bad foods, most people don't know. And when most people don't know, they feed them random foods like bread, which is not good for them. I recommend you should feed birds or the ducks blueberries, grapes, wheat, grass, fish eggs, seeds, and many more different like fruits or vegetables because it's better for them and it doesn't make them sick like the bread does. So if you still want to enjoy feeding the birds and also keeping them safe, I recommend you feed them those foods that I just listed.
We will be putting up signs with information and warnings to not feed the waterfowls bread. We are also going to make 3 dispensers with with food inside that are healthy for the ducks, so people can still enjoy it, but it will also be free to do. We also are partnering with the Marine Education Center, and they will maintain the food dispensers and signs in the future.
How can you help? You can help us by giving permission to put up the feeding stations for the public to use for them to feed the birds, and help broadcast our project to the community of people of New Shell, Merrimack, everywhere, everybody who goes to the Merrimack Harbor, and give us feedback on our project. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we'll take your feedback.
I just want to say this was really very fascinating because I certainly didn't know this. And then you gave suggestions for what type of food is actually good for them. And I think this is terrific. And I think we all could help you personally and professionally get this word out to people. So, we'll put our thinking caps on more ways to get your message out, because it's certainly valuable, and I think it's unknown to most people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great presentation, girls.
Girls, I just have to say, I love this. This was actually something that I briefly brought up with Parks and Rec at the end of last year about getting some signs up in the village about not feeding bread to the birds. One of the village employees kind of really caters to feeding the duck and the swans, and she's always out there with food, not bread. And so it was something that we had just briefly mentioned. So I love that you're bringing attention to this, because it really is important to take care of our waterfowl. So thank you for kind of making this a project, and I hope that, we can certainly help.
Thank you so much.
Al and Jason and Jeff for helping, because I know it's all part of what, they're really the project advisors, and so without them this wouldn't be happening. So thank you all.
I would just say I'd love to see if you can send it along to Nora, or if Nora has it. I think since we're all so very impressed, first of all, I'd like to get Yvonne's last name.
I have everybody's name.
You have that? Okay.
I'm not sure it's all-
Besides that, I'd like to get copies of, Yvonne made a game. I just think that would be a great thing if we could just see all the parts that they did. The game, and Paige did a video. I just love to see your other source materials, because it seems like we could get that message out and give people a way to get it. So, Nora, if you don't mind, I'd love to see the source materials.
And so one of the things that they're doing for leadership hours is running these Zoom programs for younger troops, and they're doing some in person too, but maybe they could do a Zoom program for adults as well. That might be, I think there's an audience here for that. So
I think your point is well taken.
Great presentation, girls.
That was really good.
Dan's daughter received her silver award. She's in Kathleen's troop too, so he knows how much work.
And those book boxes are getting a lot of use. The little free libraries that the board approved a couple of years ago, which is great.
Okay, well, thank you again, and we'll look forward to maybe hearing a progress report at the end of the summer. Okay. That would be.
Thank you so much. Thank you really for your feedback and cheering us along. They've worked really, really hard, and they've put a lot of hours so far, working in the virtual space. So we're hoping that we can get out there and start spreading the message, in person at different events, and getting to our next phase of the project, which is execution. So your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
one. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Be friends to the birds. I love it, guys. Is there a discussion about living memorial for municipal employees? Jason, is this something that you are bringing up?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Trustee Lucas might have a little bit more information than me.
So I think this is something that Tom had suggested, and the Arts Council and the Tree Committee are running with it, but it's going to probably be in Harbor Island Park. So the idea is that there would be some.
Nora,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
very hard to hear you. I don't know if you can turn up your microphone.
That better? Is that better?
Not too much, but a little bit better, yeah.
Nora, I'm sure you can be loud, can't you?
Is that better? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
We can hear you.
Is everybody else muted? If everyone else mutes, she can probably stand out a little bit more.
All right. Is that any better? I've got it up as loud as it will go. Yeah, okay. So basically the idea was to have some sort of a memorial or remembrance for all of the essential workers that work for the village that kind of kept us going during the pandemic. And the Arts Council came up with the idea of having kind of a ring of trees, maybe with low benches around them in Harbor Island Park and a plaque. And the Tree Committee thought that this was a great idea. And they worked with Harbor Island Conservancy, and the idea is that it would be sort of on the Rushmore side of the park, near the post road, sort of, I would say, like, in from the pump house. And so they just simply wanted to run it by the Recreation and Parks Commission to see if that was something that this group would also be supportive of. Probably it would be maybe 8 to 10 trees. They'd be small when they're planted and they would grow tall. So it would be a little like seating area with information about all the employees who kept us going.
I'm sorry, did you say it was gonna be on the Rushmore side? I think you're on mute, Nora. Yeah, we can't hear you.
The Rushmore side of the park near the post road.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't make my volume any louder.
There's not anything blocking like your mic, is there?
No, I can see my mic. Nothing's blocking my mic. I don't know why this is.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, so Nora, I guess, continue that effort. It sounds like it'll be an exciting project.
Back to the parks. It's just so funny. It's the Arts Council, the Tree Committee, and Rec and Parks, and I'm the liaison to all of them. So that works out pretty conveniently.
Oh, that was meant to be, Nora. Okay, so now let's move on to the Recreation Trust account. Jason, would you mind speaking to this?
We're going to push this one because I was supposed to meet with Jerry on the project, which is complete, or the report is complete, but Jerry took this week off. So I would like to speak with my boss, and then we'll present that in the May meeting.
Okay, no problem. I'm just writing this down in the notes. Okay. Let's see. Next on the agenda is the dog park. Would Carrie with an A like to discuss that?
Thank you, Randy. That was very nice. We don't have an update unless we get one from
Jay.
I don't know if Nora or Jerry or Jason can give us an update. The last we discussed was the Parks and Rec Committee approving or all in favor of the engineering contract. And that was, we thought, going before the board to approve. So we're kind of just looking for an update on that. I think, right, Sin?
Yep,
Tina,
think that
right?
was the last.
I think that was it, right? We're just waiting
Yeah.
to know if that was approved.
Yeah, I think Nora was supposed to, talk about that.
The last we heard, Jerry had that proposal. We don't know what happened.
Right.
Nora, are you there?
I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me better now? Because I switched to my cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot better.
Jerry has not, can you hear me at all?
Now we
Barely.
can.
Maybe talk louder, Nora. You're just really low.
Jerry hasn't sent this to the Board of Trustees yet. It's been budget season, so we've been having, these constant budget committee meetings, and so, or what, budget meetings. And so I think what will happen is, I think he's trying to evaluate whether this is the right proposal and whether we need this proposal or something else before he goes ahead. So I think, I think he wants to discuss it with you, and he expected to be here tonight, but he's out this week for another reason. So I think maybe we'll have a little bit more resolution in May.
I think maybe it might be a good idea then if we schedule like the subcommittee to meet and discuss these things so that we can kind of know where we're at.
Yeah, I'd like to move forward.
I know, I have that Facebook group, and I get asked all the time for an update about what's going on and if we're progressing at all. And my standard reply is always, everything just takes a really long time, which is true. Like, we totally get that, but I feel like we've kind of been stuck in limbo, and I know the pandemic has kind of put everything behind. So I think it would just be a really good idea if the subcommittee met so we can kind of discuss the next plan of action and how to really push things forward.
I agree. We need to at least get this consultant, and if we get the consultant, it's still going to take a long time. So we need to get that started.
It is.
Right. Okay, so the subcommittee I'll send an email or a text, and we'll meet whenever we can before the May meeting.
Nora, do you surmise when that might be on the BOT agenda?
Nora, I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear Nora? I can't hear Nora at all.
No.
I can't get out of this meeting.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Anyway,
So that contract that we had received, that Jerry, that did not go before the board.
No. As far as I know, it didn't.
Okay.
But
right,
I think we need to meet with Jerry to see if this is the right consulting agreement or how he wants to move forward. Because he sent us the agreement, but we don't know, but he didn't bring it to the board, right? So I'm not sure where we're at. We have to I hoped he was going to be here tonight as well, but yeah. So.
Okay, so let's
That's
just
fine. Yeah, let's just
let the group meet again, and then we'll have some feedback by that point from what Jerry has decided to do. Okay, guys?
Yeah, if we could meet before the next Parks and Rec meeting, that would be great.
And our meetings are the first Wednesday at 7:30.
Yep.
Okay, I'll set up a meeting this week, Kara.
Thanks, Sim.
Yep.
Jason, do you want to talk about the Capitol Theater?
Yeah, let's do, Randy, I think you're on an original agenda. Tina, you want to do the year round with Carlo, and then I'll talk about the last two agenda items. The report on year round recreation committee by Tina, Carlo, and Manny.
Yeah. Carlo, you want to start?
No, you can start, Dina.
I'm not ready. That's why I asked you to. I can't find my paper. Just give me a second. Or Manny. Manny, you there?
I'm here.
Manny's got long hair.
No, you start, Carlo, and then I can kind of follow up.
Well, let's see. We probably have met 4 times, and the last time we met at the facility itself, where it's currently existing. with Carlos, and he gave us a tour, and we start discussing about actually just keeping it there or moving it, and then we basically reached out. They were going to reach out to Claude, and we're going to be meeting with them tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we asked for diagrams and so forth, and Claude, Kathy, was that her name? I can't remember.
No, Kelly, or
Kelly.
not, Sally sent
Sally,
us
Sally.
what Claude kind of
Sally.
responded with, and he kind of sent us like,
You just tell
checked
everybody
us
who
from-
Claude is, because I know who he is, but I don't think everybody else does.
got it. So Claude is the CEO of Sport Time. So he kind of is like oversees all that. So we basically want to bring him in and meet with him and see if it's possible they want to build upon on the tennis courts, or either move the location, which probably won't happen. So we're meeting with them tomorrow to talk about what would need to be done to the current location, if it's possible, how much it would cost, and then if the kind of flooding problem is still an issue at that location, if they were to, like, renovate and make it a little bit more modern.
Okay. So you're meeting on Monday?
Don't meet tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Thursday, April 8th.
Yep.
Okay.
And part of our discussion was where the dog park was going to be located too. So we have that, taken that into consideration. And Jason, you saw, we did the survey that we created, but we're still working on that and trying to get things finalized.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a village-wide survey that you're working on, Tina?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And I wanted to, I don't know if now's the right time to ask you, but I wanted to ask Manny and Carlo if they thought that Jason should be invited to this meeting.
Definitely. I think definitely that he should, just,
I don't
'cause
know
Jason may
why.
have some other endpoints. I don't see why he wouldn't be kind of a part
Now
of that.
that employees are allowed to attend, I think that it would be helpful.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jason? What do we have to do?
Just send me an email. Yeah. If you guys want me to attend, that's up to you. Sure. Happy to.
Okay. I mean, and it's not late, so it's not like too late after.
5:30 tomorrow, correct, guys?
Yes.
Or 5. I think we went back and forth.
I think it's
one of
5.
those times.
5?
Yeah, I think it's 5.
Yeah, that's right. We're going back and forth.
Works for me.
We haven't gotten the Zoom link yet either, so.
Right. But you saw the responses that he gave Claude, right? And those questions that she sent out, right?
The Zoom link was there?
No, Tina, the response from Claude with the questions from Sally.
Yeah, she broke it down. I haven't read all of them, but I
didn't.
definitely seen
I
some of
didn't
them.
read it all.
And I saw like the
Okay.
diagram that he sent. I saw some of the things that which are really going to be really helpful going into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, great, guys. I'm glad you're making progress. What's the next agenda item that I don't have, Jason?
Sorry,
no,
can I just ask a quick question about the Sport Time? What's their reaction been so far, and what do they want to do? Have they kind of articulated, or is it just all exploratory at this point?
Well, we only, I actually missed it, but we only spoke to them when we got a tour. I was on the phone. I wasn't there, but I don't know, Carlo and Manny, did they say anything else that I missed?
Well, I asked him point blank, Carlos, if who's basically, what's his title down there? Tennis pro / manager.
Yeah,
And I
he's
said
like
whether or
he's
not-
like the Westchester manager, I think, of like just the guns they kind of have in Westchester.
Right. And Manny, you were there when I asked him point blank. Claude really wants to do something, for
Yeah,
all
like
these
he
years.
wants an agreement. He sees like the potential.
Right. I mean, it's been 20 years that we've been kicking this can down the road. So he truly wants to do it. He truly wants to do a multi-sport. Correct me if I'm wrong, Manny or Tina, because he has other operations similar to what he wants to do down at Harbor Island at probably 4 different places. So he really, and he's well versed in this too. So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it's just coming to an agreement, an understanding between the village and his operation.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this last time, but their agreement, they extended them another year. Is that what the trustees agreed last time with them? So that they're for 2 years?
It's 2 years, I think.
It was pre-pandemic. It was pre-pandemic, and there was a lot of litigation and potential litigation and arbitration around this. So we came to a determination that their contract, I'm not sure I'm going to describe it perfectly accurately, so I don't want to say too much, but suffice it to say, there was an opportunity for them to keep on operating while the village figured out how we have this kind of a facility in a park that complies with all of the requirements that we have owning a park and not alienating parkland. So we're just.
So Nora, was that figured out? Because that was one of the questions I had, and everybody made it seem like it was no big deal. But I remember for a long time
I wouldn't say it's no big deal. I wouldn't say that it's no big deal. We have to be very careful about how we allow private entities to use our park.
Well, it sounded like, I mean, Manny and Carlo, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not a problem.
Well, I don't know who was telling you that, but I think we have to be very careful about how we make any kind of an arrangement with a private entity to run a facility. Randy's looking. This has been going on since she was a trustee.
No, well, I think somebody needs to explain that to the committee, because I don't think anybody on the committee, including myself, and I'm the only one that brought it up because I remember for years hearing about it.
Isn't there a trustee liaison on the committee?
Yep. There is, but I don't recall her when
Anyway, I think this is a valid discussion, but not
for here. Yeah.
Okay, guys. All right. Tina, your point's well taken. You need some clarity. Okay. What's next on the topics?
Can I just go back since I fixed my speaker? I think if the ad hoc dog park committee or the subcommittee wants to meet, it would really be beneficial to meet with Jerry, because that's really so he's not in this week. I think he's in next week, but I think meeting with Jerry will get you to a place.
Well, I'm sending an email right now. I'm sending an email right now, and Jerry's CC'd on this. So
it's going to be Jerry, Jeff, and Jason who really are implementing it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So Cindy, you're sending it just to the dog park committee, aren't we all like lumped in a group?
Yeah, Nora, Jerry, Carrie, Tina, Elizabeth, Marissa, Charles. I have Charles on there, but I don't have Jeff's email, because the last time we met was when Barry was.
Oh, so
I can send you Jeff's email right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and if Manny's email is still lumped into that dog park.
Is Manny's on the subcommittee? No, he's not. Manny's not on here.
I think, which Manny are you talking about?
Yeah, there's two of us.
Oh, no, not Manny. I'm sorry, Barry. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, no, Barry's
not Manny. Barry was probably in there initially.
Yes, I took Barry out.
Are we going to be able to meet in person soon? I see the school's next meeting is in person.
So far, there are no plans to meet in person.
Secretly, I like the Zoom.
The part of the issue about meeting in person is that the rooms have to be cleaned each time. So, now that the trustees are up to speed in running Zoom meetings, right?
I think it's going to be hard for people to go back totally in person. It's so
I agree.
In your house, you say goodbye and that's it.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Jason, are you up next with a couple of items?
Yes, so we could talk about, let's talk of the Harbor Island Capitol Theater concert series. So we all had a presentation with those fine people. Unfortunately, this year it just didn't align, so that's not going to work out. But they're very interested in subsequent years, like next summer. I think they would be a good partner. It's just in terms of them with the pandemic restrictions and finding talent was being a little bit difficult for them. So those two things made it not possible this year. So that's something a little disappointing, but I think it's promising for the future. So I want to update you all on that. We did recently have a meeting this week with the Emlyn Theater, who wants to partner up with the Arts Council possibly and do a small Emlyn Theater type 200-person concert out on the harbor. So we're working on that with the Arts Council and the Emlyn, and hopefully that can turn into something for this summer in terms of live music. We are not going to have the orchestra for 4th of July, so we won't have any concert per se, but we're working out all those other details of the fireworks, and so that's a challenging thing, but we're working on it. So that's for the Capitol Theater concert. Just wanted to update you on that. Any questions?
The Emlyn thing sounds really interesting. To think about using the band shell. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the
fantastic.
idea. Yeah.
What a great idea. It would
So
be ticketed or?
It would be free. We're thinking mostly free, but we might have to have some sort of ticket system, depending on what the COVID situation is at the time. Let's say if we only could have a certain amount, if they're only comfortable having a certain amount of people, let's say they like usually the gentleman said about 250, then we would probably have to ticket it because just to try to keep that many people in place. So it depends, but we're working out the details. My hopes is just a walk up free concert. I think that's their hopes too, but we're working on the details.
What do you think like a COVID capacity would be back on Lanza Field for an event like that?
I figured it out. It's a large number. According to what the regulations are, it's thousands of people. Thousands, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
But everybody would have to stay in a 6-foot box. Is that the?
I think it's 35 square feet per person is how they figure it out. So it's actually more than you think, more than I think we would even put out there. But I also think it's what the Emlyn would be comfortable with. And I think from our discussions, it was something like 250 would be a good, comfortable number for them. And they could do it very, very affordably. So they have a lot of connections. So that might be something cool to look forward in, August, month of August.
That's great.
So that's the Capitol Theater. The other item I wanted to do was just quickly update you on summer camp. So we opened registration on March 15th, and we have 270 spots available, and we have 230 registered campers. So that's 85% of the capacity. So I'm very pleased with that number. It's quite a large number for this soon in the registration process. So that's good. Other than that, we're working on all the on-site entertainment for the campers and schedules and permits. And it's a busy time of year in terms of camp planning and that sort of thing. But it's very promising in terms of enrollment. It's higher than I thought it was going to be at this point. So that's really good. I am working with the CRC. We're going to be able to do 10 camp scholarships this year. So that's great news. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to at first, but we are. So 10 scholarships, which is great. So working with the CRC, I think I'm meeting with them this week to try to discuss a little bit more. So that's good news. Any questions specific? I mean, to anything at all?
What happened with the eliminating some of the discounts and early bird stuff? What was the final decision on where that shook out? I know you proposed it in the budget, the budget meeting.
Right. So the board, I believe Jerry made the decision with the board to basically get rid of discounts for just this 1 year.
Yes.
So that would be like the employee discount and the sibling discount and the early bird discount for just this year, and then bring back some sort of version of our discounts, obviously, for next year. I think we will work together after this season to try to come up with a fee structure that's a little simpler, if you know what I'm saying. So that's something that we'll work on after camp in the early fall, as you know, like September, because the fee schedule goes to the board around December. But yeah, I would like to work with you guys to rework that fee structure next year so it works for everyone.
I think one of the reasons Jerry recommended that was because in the research that was done, and Jason can correct me, there are many camps who are simply adding a COVID fee, and it was $200 to $500 per camper, and we didn't want to do that. So this was a way of not adding a fee that would subsidize everybody else.
So what is a COVID fee? What does it do?
It's just what the other camps are doing. They're tacking it on because they feel it's more expensive to run the camp, and they offer these discounts to people. So we just decided it wasn't appropriate to just tack on another fee to every camper.
Right.
And they were pretty high. Some of the communities were like $500. It was a lot.
It depends. Everyone had something. Some got rid of discounts like we did. Some did a COVID surcharge or per kid, or some just raised their fee. Camp is a lot. It will be more expensive to run because you are limited to the pod system, and you can't take more kids than you normally would. So like if I would normally have a group of 25 to 30 third graders, I can only have 2 groups of 15, which makes it difficult. So you still have to keep your staffing ratio, but you can't go above that. So normally we would take 320 kids. This year we can only take 270, but yet that 320 would be serviced with the same amount of staff as we would need taking the 270. You know what I'm saying? So like, because the ratios are ratios, and that's how it works.
It's still the greatest deal in town, dollar-wise, cost-wise.
Jason, I have a quick question. What kind of on-site entertainment were you guys thinking of doing this summer?
Oh, I have a list, Manny. We're working on purchase orders and things for that. I have a lot of stuff. There's like musicians and magicians and
wow, that's awesome.
Grainberg Nature Center. There's like my wonderful staff does that for me. I'm not gonna lie. They pick all this stuff with the camp directors, but there's a lot of stuff on there. More, and that's not inflatables, by the way. I wish, because that's like the easiest thing to do, but we have an insurance issue with our village and inflatables, so we don't do blow up things. But yeah, so we're I can provide you a list, Manny. Shoot me an email. But there's like
definitely, I'll email you right now.
Like 25 different things. The most recent thing that I actually asked my staff today about was, can we work with, mostly for the older kids, the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, is can we work with like a local pizza restaurant where they can walk from the harbor up to town and like do like a pizza making thing or something like that. So we're working on that. Now we already have like we use artistry and we do pottery. So because like they're there, so they'll come down to camp for the little ones. So we try to involve the local businesses, but I'm trying to figure if we could do something with like a restaurant where we can bring the older kids up. Because the older kids do have lunch in town. You know, I would bring them to Robert's, Manny, but you can't go shopping. So
I'd love to,
listen,
I think that would be a super cool idea and see like what of our restaurants on the avenue or, you know, in the area that could use the extra help, you know, after COVID and stuff like that. I know some places have businesses still been booming with deliveries, but maybe the smaller businesses that didn't have the infrastructure and stuff like that would be cool.
Right. So like I would only do that for the older kids. If all the other groups are going to just stay put on site, and we're going to bring all the entertainers to them, which is a new concept. Normally we do a mixture, but mostly travel with the kids. So it should be interesting.
Great. And are you guys doing these under like tents, or are you going to be like a building? Because like obviously COVID, there's not many indoor kind of things you could do. So
yeah, we're going to have 5 tents and one on the beach, one large one on the beach. And then the building we use, but like a pod per room at a time, and then disinfected. So mostly for the younger kids to eat lunch, cool off. We'll have like a dedicated preschool area with cubbies and all that fun stuff like we normally do. But mostly the younger age groups will be inside. But yeah, we will be rotating performing arts that will probably be inside just for, it's hot out there, for dancing. I mean, so it just depends. But we're going to use the building in some sort of capacity, but one pod at a time, which is frustrating when the room could fit, you know, according to the building department, could fit 80 kids and you can only put 15.
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly. How big are the tents then? Because that's a lot. 5 tents. That's sweet. Like
I think they're 15 by 30. I want to say. I have to look at the spec sheet. And the
Perfect.
beach tent is bigger. It's like 20 by 80. It's the
Oh wow, that's huge. Okay, great.
yeah, but we also like rent that tent for parties, so
Yeah,
we-
yeah.
it has a dual purpose. It has a dual
Got it.
purpose. But yeah,
I noticed that Jeff On is here. Jeff, hi. Do you have any information to report regarding the parks that you want to share with us?
Not any major stuff. I mean, we're in the process of redoing some parks and changing some things in parks, benches, picnic tables. We're doing a lot of maintenance on a lot of the old benches around town, trying to get those looking a little bit nicer and not such an eyesore. But other than that, we're just getting ready for opening season.
The
Jefferson
benches
Park.
around West Basin are awesome, Jeff. They look really good.
Oh,
All the
thank
new
you. Yeah.
benches. It's really good.
Which
Dan, we're fixing those swings too, Dan.
Oh,
The
yeah.
swings. Yeah, we got all the parts for them, so we'll be fixing those too.
I'm sure the 8th graders will be by to work their magic on them again anyway, whatever you
But
do.
no, Jeff's gonna build them like concrete. He's gonna really build them strong.
Yeah.
I just want to say to both Jeff and Jason, for those of us that attended the budget hearings, they were very well done, gentlemen. I thought we all learned new information, didn't we?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was listening in.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think
go ahead. I just had a question related to something that was discussed at the budget meeting was, and I think I heard something follow up, but having an attendant at the Bleecker Street where the kayak launches and the paddle boards were
Yeah,
launching.
I saw that.
And then I thought I heard that now it was not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because it's not village property, it's private property. That's why it's not going to happen.
I thought someone was going to research that and I didn't hear what.
Yeah, it turns out that it's private property, and so we really don't have any business.
Related. Okay.
Yeah.
It's on the fee schedule on the Harbor Master's website though, so you might want to double
Oh,
check.
that's a good point. Okay.
Are we able to do that in another location? Because I know a couple summers ago, there was like kayaking and paddle boarding, and then this last summer, 2020, only kayaking. So I'm just curious if we'll be able to offer that at another if there's another location, or that's what you're talking about, research we need.
I don't know the full aspect of it, but I know that we got approval to build brand new kayak docks for the harbor. So I think that they're trying to bring it into the harbor and they could launch from the ramps in the harbor. I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to speak for Jeff, but I work with Jeff a lot building the docks. So as of right now, we have 2 kayak docks that we're currently building that we're going to be placing in the harbor. So be able to have more launches and storage for kayaks.
And
we're gonna do programs like recreational programs. I'll do kayak classes and stand-up paddleboard classes off the beach. Like where the public can register and we provide them with what they need, kayak, paddleboard,
Cool.
jacket. So I'll do those, but in terms of like we that was like a dual purpose thing where we could handle a big issue in terms of enforcement. Like we get a lot of complaints about that beach and then we could also bring access to the water a little easier, but it just didn't turn out that way. So
Jason, you're saying you get complaints about the Bleecker Beach?
yeah, quite a lot, quite a bit.
I assume from the residents that live around Bleecker, that people go and park there and they launch from there.
Correct.
But
I
isn't that?
I don't want to make that assumption because I don't exactly know, but I would assume you're accurate. Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody else would care other than the people who actually live there in that
I mean,
area.
that's where I live down the block from there now, and I launch from there paddle boarding. So are people complaining that there's too many people? Because that's what that's for.
I don't really get complaints about people launching. I get complaints about like kids partying and people swimming, garbage, fishing, noise complaints.
That I could see. Yeah.
Parties, everything but what it was intended for, which I think was launching and kayaking. I don't really get complaints about the launch. It's mostly everything else that happens there.
Yeah, because I think there's one private home west, and then there's like a big condo building, or I'm not sure exactly what that building is there, but
Orienta condominiums.
yeah.
Right.
I think the point is it's not a village launching site because it's private property. So anybody who's doing that is using private property. Not
So
public.
can I, hey, Jason, or
Go ahead, Carla.
have you guys decided where the kayaks are gonna go, the new storage facility, the fishing station, or where the floats used to be down at the in the boom area?
Jeff, where are they putting those new kayaks?
I do not know. I could get that information forwarded to you, but as of right now, I do not know where those two docks are going.
But Jeff LaRusso, the harbor master, is planning on, you said, building more racks?
Yes, so it's two docks and then we're building racks.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
Joe's been,
Where he's gonna put the racks, I'm not sure. I cannot.
okay.
You'll get that, get that back for Carlo, Jeff, maybe.
Yeah, I could get you some information and
Yeah, we've been talking about it for the last couple of years because Joe really wanted more. There's just always, he did want to put him in the water. So that's a good thing that
Are
we're
the-
getting it.
Yeah.
The racks just for the kayaks, or could people leave their paddle boards there?
I believe it is both. They're going to utilize it as both. But like I said, I could have a conversation with Jeff tomorrow and I could forward information on to you guys.
Okay.
And do me a favor, anything that anyone circulates, circulate to everyone.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Is the beach opening to the public this year?
Sure, yeah.
It is, same as before.
It was open to the public last year, it was just restricted access.
Right.
In terms of
That's
hours.
right.
This year, so far, they haven't changed the beach rules, or the state hasn't, but I also think it's early and that's why they haven't changed it. Everything else got changed, so I would assume the beach would be the same. We follow at like whatever Jones Beach is the same deal we follow because we receive a permit from the county and the state to run our beach. But right now it's the same, but I would expect before we open on Memorial Day-ish, it's gonna change.
The same as last year's restrictions is what you're saying right now?
Right now, but I would assume it's gonna change. Like last year, they released it, 2 weeks before opening days. So I would assume they just didn't get to it yet and that they will, and it will be changed. But in terms of like beach and parking passes, we're gonna start selling those on May 1st, or that first Monday in May. And that will be in person in the office. We're having some glass put up and things, so it's safe for the public. So that's good. And yeah, normal.
Is it going to be a resident only timeframe first, or is it going to be for everyone?
I don't know, because like I said, the regulations are the same right now. So if they didn't change anything, it would, but if they do change, then I think it's good. It won't be like that. I have a feeling it's not going to be the resident only deal like it was last year. I think we're going to have a little bit more flexibility. But I won't know until they change. We get that updated guidance, similar to like what they did for sports. Dan, right? You start sports in April. What do they give it to us 3 weeks before? I would assume that would be similar to the beach. Like last year, we'll probably get it 3 weeks, 4 weeks before we're ready to start. That's just how they roll.
Okay, thanks.
Jason, for the benefit of others on the call, but can you just comment on how the youth sports leagues are using the fields this spring? Baseball, soccer, or anybody else?
Sure. So we got, in terms of this permit year, we got a lot of permit requests, more than usual. Mostly the same players, like always, Little League, baseball and soccer, Southeast Consortium. There's a few other smaller Mamaroneck Public Libraries doing a bunch of programs on a grassy area. So yeah, the sports leagues are following the New York State guidelines. We don't have to follow the 50 people. I think it's 150, right, Dan, now?
Actually, I was going to ask you the number. We're
It's
working.
not 50. It's on the permit that I sent you guys. So I believe if it's a public use, so like it can't be Jason's backyard. If it's a public use facility, it's 200 is the maximum capacity. So they're good. to me, it looks like you guys are doing exactly what you did last year. If
Right.
I'm wrong, let me know. But
Yep.
visually, when I seen it, you guys, I think Monday was your first day.
Yep.
Visually, as I was watching, it looked very similar to last year. And the way it looked like 50 kids per area, it looked very similar. So to me, I didn't notice a difference just because they changed to give us more leeway. I think
I'm just wondering if we're kind of constrained for spectators when they actually play games on
two.
Saturdays and Sundays. So
Yeah, two spectators per child for the home team. The away team technically is not allowed to have more than one spectator, really. But how we
we're
supposed
doing
to?
house leagues. All of our programs are house leagues this year.
Yeah, so 2 spectators per child.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't change. That was the same as last year. They just increased the amount of people that could be in one area, or one field area, but it's still 2 spectators per child.
Got it.
Is the rule once again that it's on the permit that the village gives out and it's signed by, but it's not something that how we would enforce that Jason has 2 people there for him. It's very difficult, especially at Getz Field and Cunningham.
I think what'll happen is if you're going to start getting calls, and hopefully you didn't get any last fall or last spring, but calls from people saying, geez, there seems to be a lot of people on the fields. And I'm a little bit concerned about that myself, but last fall we didn't seem to have a problem. It's easy to spread out on those fields, the front fields especially. So, and
there is
and most people only brought 1 spectator, which was even easier. So
right. I think last year soccer and maybe even baseball, I think they were only allowing 1 person to bring the kid. And I think
we didn't have a rule, but we advised that only 1 person,
right.
and most people respected that. So it was pretty good.
Like today, for instance, it was a beautiful day. The park was just busy in general, just on top, regardless of soccer, it was just busy. And I was out looking at it for about 20 minutes. Yeah, there's a lot of kids out there, but they're spread out in a really large area. The masks, it looks safe to me. Is there a potential for a complaint? Yeah. I mean, there's a potential for anything we do to get a complaint. So we'll see.
Jason, have you guys talked at all, or I know it's still very early in how this all will pan out, but like the vaccine passport kind of conversations, has that been discussed at all for events?
That has not been discussed. We've discussed it and as a recreation community, I want to say, with colleagues, and we all have a lot of concerns about having, for instance, a program that's for vaccinated people or a program that's not for vaccinated people. Yeah, it's very difficult for a municipality to, I try to stay away from that. So I don't know.
I guess with kids, it's not really an issue. It's because really only until kids are able to be vaccinated, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's tricky. Even with camp pre-pandemic, we had a little bit of, there was an MMR outbreak in Rockland County, and Westchester County government was really scared that it was going to come down here. So they put these really strict rules in for camp, and we had to make sure that, or document who had a MMR shot and who, or 2, and who didn't. And if they didn't, we had to put them on a sheet separate, and the health department had to have that sheet. So it was very difficult, but yet we couldn't exclude a child from coming to camp if they chose not to. So that year we had 2 or 3 parents who did not want to vaccinate their child for that particular shot. And yet they still came to camp. We just had to document it appropriately. I feel like it would probably be something similar if or when there's a vaccine for kids.
Right. Okay. Cool. Just asking.
But that's something personally, like if I would, village attorney would really be the one I would probably, and Jerry, but mostly attorney would probably need to advise us on what we can and cannot do, because that's a tricky situation.
Totally tricky. Thank you.
Slippery slope.
Yeah.
Can I just ask 2 quick questions? Because I apologize. I found my notes and I just had 2 things back from the year-round committee. One, maybe Nora, whatever happened with the pickleball court that was supposed to be built at Stanley? Did that ever come to the board?
No, but that's in our capital plan. It's like very high up on there. So as part of the Recreation Trust Fund report, that is one of the projects that is in there. Pickleball courts, we have quotes, but it did not go to the board. because that's $100,000 capital project, and
Oh.
yeah, it's not necessarily the best time to bring a pickleboard.
Thank you for
Pickleball
remembering
court.
that.
Yeah,
Well,
a pickleboard project.
all the sports that people were interested, or activities that people were interested in.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing we were talking about is basketball, and I know I mentioned it to you briefly, Jason. If there was anywhere that we could put even a temporary court, even if it's a half court, it doesn't have to be a full court, so that there's some basketball.
Where?
That's my question. Is there somewhere in the harbor that we could do that?
Yeah, I have my spot that I like behind the Parks building, but
right.
If the county does the work, there's an issue. But where do we put that court? If it's not there,
Pavilion.
I have a space issue on where we would put it. That's not a field, or, I can't think of a spot where we could put it other than where I think it should go.
And have it from the county up here? Probably not, right?
Last time, listen, I was told that they wanted this project to be ready for this coming spring.
2050 maybe.
But
I don't think it'll be that long, but
they claim that this project is moving. Last time we talked about it, they said it's moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're done. It's been over an hour. Does anyone have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Kristen? And second?
Tina.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.